red, blue, purple light. Friends, red, blue, purple light. Friends, facts, red, blue, purple light. Friends, red and blue, purple light. Friends, facts, you can get to know the ledger, sacrilegious Sunday to melanin Monday. You can get to know the ledger, my love. Just open your third eye on Thursday. Lord, the food, the art, the clothes, the Vatican's getting exposed fast. We put the show on the road, you better stay on your toes. I was till the land, focused on the ego. Then I opened my heart, let go of the ego. Grand after grand, we stacking up these C notes. Facts, facts, yeah, we gon' put this shit on our backs. Facts, facts, we in your city, pull up where we at. Facts, facts, peace, love and light. Peace, love to the family. Peace, love and light. To the family. Peace, love and light. To the family.
These days and time, black man, is going to be the time that you have been waiting for. You came here for a reason. Whatever pressure, whatever adversity, whatever the fuck you feel, I don't know what you feel, but whatever you may be feeling is going to push you, and it's going to provoke you, and it's either going to make you or break you, similar to how pressure busts pipes or the shit makes diamonds.
I'm wildin'. Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Welcome to Know the Ledger 444. You are now rocking with the best. Yes, this is your brother, Red Pillar, your host for the evening. And I will be joined by my special guest, my good brother, B-Dell 1014 family. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and open up the line for B-Dell 1014 in the building. Peace to the God.
Peace. What's up?
Peace, 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 God. How are you?
I'm doing great. What about yourself?
Man, I am doing awesome. I'm doing wonderful. I'm actually doing better now that we are in the building here doing what we do. You feel me? So I want to first and foremost give a shout out to everybody in the building. I usually do roll call, but we're going to get right into it tonight. We're going to, hold that on. We might do roll call at the end and whatnot. But shout out to everybody in the building. We have a combined family tonight. We got B-Dell's family on his platform, and we have the Know the Ledger family. Everybody, make sure y'all do some networking in the chat. How was your day today, my good bro?
Everything was great, man. Got my workout in. Our people in Blue, he put out that you got to have 3 wins in your day. You got to have a spiritual win, a mental win, and a physical win. So
saw that. That's good discipline.
My evolution. So that's what I'm all about.
Definitely. That is good discipline. You know what I mean? I co-sign that. That's definitely something that we should be leading with, as just as an exercise, you know what I mean? So salute to Blue Pillar. We did a powerful live earlier, and we were fleshing out a plethora of news stories that were dominating the headlines and whatnot. And one of the most dominant news stories that have been taking over my timeline is the arrest, or what we would call the indictment, the federal indictment of Big U and the Rolling 60s Crips, which is the organization, the street organization that our good brother Nipsey Hussle was a part of. So tonight I'm paying homage not to the gangs with the look, but to the West Coast, to the, you know what I mean, to the West Coast, to the messianic West Coast spirit and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to everybody out in the West Coast. Yeah, we rooting for y'all. You know, we definitely rooting for y'all. And tonight's conversation is going to be a very enlightened conversation about the messianic force that our good brother Ermaeus, aka Nipsey Hussle, was in possession of, and some of the things that we're seeing play out. And we're going to put a metaphysical lens on that. Okay.
Most definitely.
Yes. So how did you take the news of what you saw today with this indictment and the highlight of, you know, the criminal organization that was running in the background with the brother Big U? Allegedly, we have to always say that, innocent until proven guilty, you know, just for the record.
Right. Well, I feel like, you know, karmic retribution in itself is a form of resurrection. So we living in this time of rebirth. We live in a time of reconstruction. So a lot of things that was subjected to the Piscean age of darkness, it has to basically reverse the polarity, because you can't bring a fifth dimensional energy into a three-dimensional energy. So
right.
It's going to be one of those things where you have to separate amongst our people the ones who is confined to the hedonistic activity, gang culture, drug culture, whole culture, all these things, all those energies is basically stagnating the evolution of the planet. So
right.
what's taking place right now, like, you know, Nipsey in itself, he had a Christ energy to him. He had a Neo.
He had a Neo energy. He had a Messiah energy, a messianic force. And I want to qualify that, because I'm sure that there may be people in the audience who may not even listen to a Nipsey Hussle, may not be familiar with his background. So we will qualify that, but please continue.
Yeah, well, and he also died, you know, when he was I think he
33
was years old.
Yeah.
So, you know, that is also in connection with the spine when you're talking about the restoration of the regeneration spinal fire. So that's traveling up the 33rd vertebrae. So we living in the 9 years. So a lot of stuff that's taking place on a physical level actually happens on a spiritual level first. Okay. So we're living in the time of, like, to where human consciousness speeds up the vibration and it manipulates the energy of physical matter. So a lot of stuff that was, you know, that basically embarked upon the old timelines of the Piscean age of darkness has to be restored by way of the matriarchy in the timeline of Aquarius. Because, like I said, you remember when the Pope, he opened up those the two pillars of the Silver Key and the Golden Key. So we going back into the galactic center. So when you go back into the galactic center, that speeds up the magnetic filaments of the planet to the point where it travels on a 0-point energy field, to where you go back to the apex of the golden age, going back to the Great Mother. So if you also, that's also connected to that. We're going to get into that. I don't want to spill so many beans. We want to save that for Saturday. You know what I'm saying? We would definitely want that one for Saturday.
Indeed. You know, coincidentally enough, on Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, me, Bedell, Blue Pill, and Al-Kibalon 44, we have an event. We put a lecture together entitled "Fear of a Blackamoor Messiah: The Rise of the Chosen Ones," right? And there's somewhat of a ritual that always kind of takes place around the time of these lectures that we do. We do it every month for our Patreons and whatnot. But the way that it goes is we pick a title, and, you know, I have a saying, this: the great divine speaks through signs and whatnot, and the universe will qualify the title of the lecture in real time. So this one right here was taking a while and whatnot, because that whole Messiah, the messianic energy, you know, it wasn't being, it was being summoned up, but it wasn't concrete. It didn't crystallize. And then today, with the arrest of Big U, highlighting, you know, what people have been saying in whispers and whatnot, that this was the man that was responsible for the quote unquote hit that was taken out on Nipsey Hussle, who we are identifying as the messianic force on the West Coast. Now, let's go ahead and qualify what a messianic force means, because some people may look at messianic or Messiah from Abrahamic religious aspect and be like, wait a minute, this brother was involved in street organizations, or this brother, when he rapped, he was using curse words, and, you know, coming at it from a perspective of Sunday school, from a control perspective of religion. We're not talking about that. And that's not what the Messiah is. And that's not what messianic forces are. And it's never been that, and it will never be that. A messianic force is something that lives within an individual, but it also represents the people and whatnot. A messianic leader is somebody who can create the divine spark in the people simply by just speaking to them. So you have messianic political figures, you have messianic sports figures, or messianic athletes, you have messianic musicians and things of that nature. When it comes to West Coast entertainment, West Coast music, or what we all know and from our generation as West Coast politics, in my humble opinion, from the aspect of what I saw, because I went down there for the coronation of Nipsey Hussle, and from what I felt, from what I saw, from what I witnessed, there's nobody out there that would match that quote unquote definition of the Messiah, the imprint of a Messiah. He was leading his people, right, into a place of that quote unquote vibration that you were speaking of, that's needed in order to jump into the fifth dimension. He was giving them the tools that they needed and whatnot, both through his demonstration, real life demonstration, the way that he was moving, the things that he was doing, the businesses that he was engulfed in, like what they call, he had a blockchain association called Section 90, right, dealing with technology.